might sound dramatic, but dramatic statements often get us thinking. In June of 2023, I came across a statement made by PragerU, a non-profit organization known for its bold political content. At the time, I was intrigued because I hadn't fully grasped how widespread this idea was. The statement in question was, if credibility is the lifeblood of journalism, the mainstream media is dead. This was my first encounter with the idea that journalism could die and that its end was near. On the internet, there are multiple articles just on the death of journalism, and if I were to mention all of them, we would be here forever. So I'm going to mention just a few. The first one from the Emory Wheel titled, Journalism is Dying, It's Up to Us to Save It. The second one from Medium titled, Journalism is Dying, and That's the Way It Is. And the last one from The Political titled, The News Business is Really Returning. This statement led me to ask a lot of questions. Why is journalism dying? Is the situation completely hopeless? I needed answers. So, I turned back to the origins of journalism. The earliest journalistic product was a Roman news sheet called the Daily Act. The Daily Act reported on events such as economic information, legal matters, and public speeches. These were published daily and hung in public places. Fast forward to the 15th century, the printing press is invented, which transformed the dissemination of information. The 20th century saw the rise of radio and television, each bringing new ways to deliver news to the public. And then came the internet. The internet revolutionized the journalism industry. It broke geographical barriers, allowing anyone with internet access to receive updates. Information became free. But if the internet was such a game changer, what went wrong with it? With the rapid emergence of the internet also came what we call fake news. Fake news refers to false or misleading information presented as if it were legitimate news. It is designed to deceive or attract attention. Despite its historical presence in the 1800s, the internet has amplified its reach and impact, making it difficult for people to distinguish between false and accurate information. An example of how easy it is to spread fake news on the internet is the Birds Aren't Real movement. This campaign claimed that birds are surveillance drones operated by the US government. This was intended as a joke to mock misinformation, but the conspiracy theory gained some serious traction online back in 2021. But that's not the only thing the internet gets blamed for. In fact, the internet gets blamed of committing murder, specifically the murder of traditional media. So, how did the internet commit such a crime? The internet gave the news business an opportunity for change. This prompted a shift from print media to digital media. We see an example of this shift in the Daily Nation, a leading Kenyan newspaper established in 1958. The shift started in the early 2000s with a basic website. By 2009, it upgraded to a more interactive platform, and in 2011, it launched a mobile app. In 2012, it introduced a digital subscription model to counter the decline in print sales. This shift, however, brought a new set of problems to the news industry. For better online exposure, organizations use platforms like Google, which according to Statista is used by 81% of internet users as their primary search engine. For news companies, ranking in these top positions is crucial for generating revenue. This has led to an emphasis on search engine optimization and rapid content publication. However, the intense competition has resulted in significant layoffs due to declining revenue. For example, this year, CNN laid off 100 of its employees, which is about 3% of its workforce. Last year in April, BuzzFeed laid off 16% of its workforce. And this is a similar story for Nation Media Group, which laid off 180 employees just this year. But despite all the evidence against our suspect, I don't believe that the internet acted alone in the killing of journalism. There are multiple factors to consider, and one of the most common reasons is that we no longer see the world as it is, but how media and politicians want it to be. Today, the news is no longer about reporting on facts, but rather pushing a certain political agenda. But I do think there are ways in which the public actively participates in the killing of journalism. And that's why I would like to talk about two ways in which we, the public, have essentially killed journalism. The first way is an over-reliance on algorithms. According to the Reuters Institute of Digital News report, 30% of the people in the selected countries for this report use social media for news, while 22% use news apps or websites. Social media, like most news apps, is an echo chamber. This refers to an environment where individuals are exposed to information, opinions, or perspectives that align with their own beliefs. As a result, opposing viewpoints are less likely to appear, creating a cycle where one's views are echoed back by like-minded individuals or content, further entrenching those views. The top 5 most used social media networks, according to the report, are Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, and X, in that order. If you use YouTube regularly, then you would know that the platform's algorithm shows you videos based on your past viewing habits. But isn't it interesting how easy it is to find opposing viewpoints on YouTube? All you need is one search to stumble across a completely different perspective. So with all this access to diverse perspectives, why does it feel like we get stuck in our own bubbles by engaging with content that reinforces what we already believe? This leads me to my second point, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to favor information that aligns with our pre-existing beliefs while ignoring or dismissing information that contradicts them. This cognitive bias leads individuals to selectively gather and interpret evidence, making it difficult to objectively evaluate different perspectives. So even if we do see content or information that contradicts our beliefs, we will simply ignore it, and everyone falls victim to this. When we look at one perspective, it's like looking at a piece of a broken mirror. That piece is only a small part of the story, and it is not representative in any way. If we take time to explore the different perspectives of a particular story, we start to see the full mirror with all its cracks and pieces. This helps us to understand the full story, even the parts that do not fit our beliefs. Letting our biases take over our actions is the reason the world is so polarized. We see the world in black and white, but not everything can be separated into good and bad. The world is much more complicated than that, and we need to stop discarding every piece of information that does not align with our beliefs. Most media outlets and news organizations exist to make a profit, and they are run by people who have those profits in mind. I blame these people for the death of journalism, but it made the whole situation feel completely hopeless, because I thought there was nothing I could do to save journalism, because doesn't it deserve saving? You are completely free to blame these people. But if we were to expect the change to come from the people at the top, we would be waiting for a very long time. The only change we can make happen needs to come from us. And that's why, as members of the public, we need to take the initiative to interact with information the algorithm does not show us. We can get our news from social media, but that cannot be our only source of information. This only leads to the formation of an oversimplistic conclusion which fails to capture the complexity of truth. People with views that oppose ours are not stupid or unreasonable. They have gone through different experiences, and most importantly, they are exposed to different news from you. That means that they're fed completely different information. Everyone here believes they're on the right side of history. I admit that I thought I had the correct set of beliefs, and they were based on common sense, and anyone who didn't agree with me was an idiot. But that's not true, because there is no right side of history, and there's no correct set of beliefs. People generally have a certain set of beliefs because they already got confirmation they are correct. No one is following something they think is wrong. So, confronting information that challenges our beliefs is certainly difficult. But we should always be eager to listen to what the other side has to say, even if it feels absurd. So let's make it a habit of embracing opposing viewpoints, not with fear, but with curiosity, because it is in that discomfort that the real understanding begins. My name is Nouriel Kpaossou. Thank you for listening.